Okay, if you watched the last one, you'll have seen I died on the last LZ. Just trying to demonstrate and explain how you would use the energy in the rotors to do a quick stop. We did it last time in the Hummingbird. This time we're going to be doing it in the Ghost Hawk. We're going to be travelling around each of these areas to demonstrate how you would land in the advanced flight model and how you use the controls. Now this is a completely different beast. It's got no skids, it's got wheels, it's significantly larger, so you always need to bear in mind what's happening with a vehicle of this size and capacity, and consider your landings much more and take your time. So I can probably say to you now, we are going to crash and burn on this, but hey, that's why we're here, aren't we? So let's go for the last LZ that we didn't nail because we crashed and burned in the video. Okay, we've got the rotors up to speed. Excellent. Bring up the landing gear. Let's make our way over. Okay. Most of these other choppers in the game are quite slow and cumbersome and really require you to kind of wrestle them through and down to some of these tighter LZs. You'll probably see that if I'm not comfortable in terms of putting these down on the LZs that I've designed here, I'll put them somewhere nearby and we'll just run through a scenario whereas you've got troops on board and you need to disembark them. And there are no troops on board here, by the way, but we'll run through that scenario. Okay, so at about 1.3 kilometres, I advise that you begin your deceleration. You begin your descent to about 30 metres. Again, same advice as in the last video. A shallow approach really helps. You don't want to have too much altitude coming into an LZ. Make sure my landing gear is down. What I want to do is make sure I get my eye in on whatever this LZ is. Just controlling what we've got there. What's the best approach here? It's over the trees by the looks of it from this way. Okay, let's do that. Let's just wrestle this around. And we'll just let the chopper settle slightly. There we go. Okay, we're doing 18 kilometres forward. I'm just going to nose down slightly as well. Okay, we're not doing a King of the Hill style landing here. This is about putting your troops down safely in an AO. So those guys who fly as part of my clan will know that this is kind of typically the way that I fly. Slow, cumbersome, especially when flying these kinds of vehicles. You don't want to be throwing it around like you would do a Hummingbird in the King of the Hill. If that's how you're going to fly your Ghost Hawk in advanced flight model, you're probably not doing it right, really. Okay, so we'll imagine we've offloaded our guys there, and we will make our way now to our next LZ, which is only a couple of 100 metres the other side of this hill. So let's fly over, gear up, and get our eye on. You'll notice I'm putting all of the LZs currently to my near side so I can actually see and get my eye in on the LZ before I'm actually approaching. Oh yes, it's that one there. Actually I want to come at it from just where I've been, don't make a shallow. In fact, what I'll do is I'll do what I did in the Hummingbird. It might not go according to plan, but hey. We'll take our time, we're not going to rush our way through it. So I'm just going to reduce collective right now, and I'm pulling my nose of the vehicle high. Look at that, I'm at 68 metres and I've blown that approach, easily blown it. Okay, what I can do is come at it from the other side swing the vehicle around. You'll see I'm not actually doing too much with the collective right now. My main concern is keeping us above the tree line, keeping my eye on the LZ. Then when I've got my eye on it, now I'm reducing collective and letting the vehicle slowly drop down, landing gear down. I'm at a funny jaunty angle. Now I'm aggressively dropping the vehicle, letting the rotors now do some torquing for me, and there we go. Perfect. Eye in all the way. Everybody safely offloaded. Okay, here is the next one, 1.9 kilometers away. Let's go. Right, throttle up, let's accelerate away. Nose down, throttle up, gain some airspeed. And we'll follow the coast all the way around. There we go. Currently 12 meters. Scenario, bring the nose up slightly, reduce collective slightly, just trying to keep us below 20-30 meters. All I'm doing right now is just encouraging the vehicle around using a combination of yaw and pitch by rolling the vehicle, pulling back on the stick. I've not touched the throttle, in fact the hand's not even on the throttle right now. Okay, now it is, I'm just reducing the throttle, getting the eye in on the LZ, slowing the vehicle down, rolling the vehicle with yaw and pitch, increasing throttle to maintain altitude. This is a tricky approach, as we already know, as we did it in the Hummingbird. I thought we were going to lose it on the Hummingbird, so I don't want to lose it on this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take us further forward and then drop that tail down. Okay, let's see how this goes. Okay, levelling the vehicle off, increasing throttle to push us backwards. Not liking this at the minute, I don't think this is very safe. My advice to everybody else actually would be to pull away, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. Not happy about that approach, and what we'll do is we'll take another attempt at it. If you try and rush it down, you will definitely end up in a flaming mess, having killed everybody on board, and that's what nobody wants that. So let's try that again. Okay. Let's see if we can nail it from here. It's a very, very tight landing. That's what I chose. I didn't put much thought into it actually. I should have put maybe a little bit more thought into these and just made it easy with open areas to choose from. But hey, that's what I chose. I'm going to stick to it. Alright, that's not too bad. We're down. We're safe. Combinations there. Taking my hands off the controls there, but there's lots of combinations between the throttle. Throttle's probably the key one for me there. It was about making sure that I got my tail over the trees. That was my first concern. Once I knew my tail rotor was over, it was then about getting the chopper down on the ground using pitch. So what I did, as you probably saw there, is pitched up, reduced my airspeed down to just a couple of kilometres, and then reduced that collective to encourage the vehicle down to the grass, just maintaining situational awareness of the trees that were in front of me. And I was using them as a guidance. I knew that the closer I got to the trees in front of me, like this, I knew that my back end was going to be fine, because I can't account for my back end, I can't see it, and I don't play in this third person view, I only fly in first person view. So my key concern is for my tail, so if I can account for that while accounting for my approaches, then everything's going to be, everything should be fine. So I like to, I use the term tucking in, so I tuck the vehicle into an area, with that element of accountability for what's happening with the tail rotor. just tuck it right in, get my nose into a place where I know I've got clearance for the tail rotor. And this is probably just going to be another one of those examples actually, because this was quite challenging before as well in the Hummingbird, so we know it's going to be challenging here in this Ghost Hawk. Probably should have taken a shallower approach there actually. What I'm going to do however is just, I know there's a farmhouse just up ahead of me, so I want to get the vehicle as close to that farmhouse as possible. There we go, and then just raise that nose, stop that forward motion, and then gradually bring the vehicle down to rest. Sadly that's close, isn't it? But still, any landing is a good landing. I'll take that. Okay, where are we up to next? Okay, we will take the Dockside landing next, so we're kind of working this anti-clockwise from the landings we did before. So far I'm quite pleased that we've made a clean sweep of these LZs, even in this Ghost Hawk. In the Hummingbird it's always going to be much easier than doing it in some of these more slow and cumbersome vehicles. So there is the dock, so we're going to swing it around and make an approach from the coast. So I'm just going to bring the nose up, reduce the collective, so I'm just going to reduce, so in essence what I'm saying here is I'm reducing the altitude, reducing airspeed, and I'm swinging the vehicle around in a nice relaxed turn, inducing more yaw as we turn now. Just come onto it as straight as we can. Now reducing more collective, I've reduced the landing gear, put the landing gear down. Okay, nose up, less airspeed, just balance my altitude off. You'll find in some of these bigger vehicles that actually they continue to sink even though you raise the throttle, so you really need to learn to understand your throttle points, as if you were driving a car really, and understand and anticipate what's happening with the throttle with your vehicles. So there we go, we're down, guys are out or getting in, good. And this next one I think is one of the more easier approaches, but I suppose saying that, if you make an assumption with that, you end up crashing and burning. So what I'll do is we're just going to do a nice gentle roll into the approach for the next one. That's the airfield we took off from, just ahead of us. Let's give ourselves a nice chance, nice shallow approach. Got my eye on the LZ already. Okay, beginning to reduce airspeed, I'm increasing throttle. I just want to maintain this 31 metres mark for now. Gear down. Got my eye, and this is a typical LZ that you really do want to try for with you guys, with your team. Yeah. Just try and work it into a nice gentle touchdown, using a -1, that's a nice approach, it's a nice landing, you guys are off, you guys are out. I suppose really if you really wanted to make it a good one, if you put the LZ further over here, tuck that vehicle right in so you guys have cover as they're coming in, and then throw the vehicle down, get it tucked in so they actually have cover and can run for the trees. Usually they give you a 360, but actually as much as them giving you protection, it would be a good idea if you put you guys down closer to where cover is. So if you do King of the Hill, as you know, it will be a case of landing in somebody's back garden or landing behind a building. You're not looking to land your crews in an open area, in an open field. So here we go, 2 LZs remain. Just going to control our airspeed here. It's not altitude, it's the problem, it's airspeed. So one way to shed airspeed actually is to go into a turn, and you'll find that you drop airspeed quite quickly. which also in turn means that you need to also react accordingly with your throttle controls. Okay, I'm just relaxing into this now, kind of just flying this for my own sake. It's very hard for me to talk through what I'm doing here, and doing this I need to just tighten up a bit. But there you go. Anyway, I think I've given you all some hints and tips in terms of flying your Ghost Hawks and your Hummingbirds. It's the second video with better audio, but I've crashed it again, so there you go. Comments in the section below, guys. Hit like. Any questions you have, please feel free to ask them, and we'll see you again in the next one. The next one will show you probably the Black Hawk. Sorry, not the Black Hawk, the Blackfoot. We'll stick somebody in there and then we'll go through some key bindings. Okay, lovely.